All right. Hello everyone. This is take 2 of our Data Live set review video.
Yeah.
Some technical difficulties last time, but it's okay. We know the exact same things about the set that we did last time, so we're going to be providing a whole bunch of old, new information.
Frankly, we know a lot more about this now that we've actually had time to play games with it.
Yeah, very minimally, both of us, but we have been able to play some games, and that helps us out. So we'll start off with level zeros. This is a taps off search brainstorm, and then you give something 500 power at the start of your climax phase. So this is a very standard brainstorm that we're seeing a lot of sets get nowadays. But one thing that's important to note is that I'm not sure if you even play this at 4 copies. Like, there's a lot of good level zeros in this set.
Yeah. It's also probably just the brainstorm you run, because there's only one other real plussing level 0 brainstorm. But it's a tap 2, and it has the ability to return to hand, but I just don't like it nearly as much.
Yeah, it's definitely the best brainstorm if you want to run a brainstorm. It's probably one of the only sets in recent memory that came out where we're actually questioning like how many copies of a brainstorm that we run.
I mean, I normally like 3 brainstorm unless it's absolutely mandatory for the deck.
I agree. This card's really good. Any set would be happy to have a brainstorm like this. That's really all there is to say about it.
Yeah.
Kurumi transfer student. So this does like some weird clock manipulation thing. So it's a global 500, and then you can rest this card. And you can clock 2 from your waiting room until the end of turn, or you can choose to rest it and then you heal 2 to memory until end of turn, and they have to come back. So there's a couple different clock modulation cards, or like cards that respond differently to how many cards that you have in clock at the time. So this card can help you deal with those types of effects.
Yeah, I haven't found a way to really fit it into anything. If you want to play a bunch of really funny and silly cards, you can probably make it work, but if you're just trying to build a good deck, it just doesn't make it.
Yeah, this card landed in my day 1 deck list where Terry and I thought that the bodyguard was the move. So it's like, okay, you just accelerate yourself to level 1, and then you like play a big bodyguard, and your opponent can't respond.
Your opponent minuses 3 or passes the turn.
But unfortunately, the issue with that is that your opponent may minus 3, but you as the player playing the bodyguard probably minus a lot more. so like you lose like 5 cards, and your opponent loses 3 or passes turn. And so a typical response to that would be just okay, somewhere in the middle. I don't know. It's like a weird like value play. And like the reason why we thought it might have worked in the first place is because not often do we like force our opponent to make a huge dedicated value decision like that. And so honestly, the quality of that bodyguard thing just was dependent on like how the opponent would respond.
The quality depends on how good your opponent is. The worse they are, the better it gets.
Yeah, especially because like not like a circumstance that like people would come into often, like they have to improvise. But yeah, that combo's bad. Let's not talk about it much more. Like the bodyguard event might be in this presentation, but it's not really worth talking about. But yeah, about this card, it made it in that list, but that list is not good, so therefore it won't make it into any list theoretically.
Yeah.
Right. Take a look at the next card. So this is Kotori, Time for Patience. So she's a stock bomb, and then on attack, if you have one or a few other characters, you mill top, and if it's level 0, you can place it into any back row slot on stage. This is good level 0 yellow fixing. As far as level 0 yellow fixing goes, you have this, and then this Shido.
And the brainstorm.
Blink a character, and the brainstorm, yeah. So there's quite a few. Yes. And so one thing that a lot of lists have started to adopt here is that the 1-0 event that we'll be talking about soon, like you can splash for that 1-0 event regardless of if you're playing a yellow combo in your deck. Like yellow is a very easily splashable color in this set, and this just might be one of those options that you choose to help splash the color.
Yeah.
Just has 2 good effects.
Yeah.
Pretty good profile. Here's that Cheeto that we were talking about.
Probably played in every deck you build with this set.
Yeah, though it is up in the air how many copies people.
I think it's either 3 or 4, unless you're trying something strange and if you're like trying to build a dedicated red blue list. Even then, you should fit at least 3 of this card in.
Yeah, so what it does, it blinks an opponent's character by sending it to memory and then placing it back in the field. So the most notable thing that this can deal with is minus soul walls that are attached to the character themselves. So it rewrites Kotori Wall.
Fate's Rider Wall.
I think it helps. Yeah, because it is attached to the...
It stops Priestess as well, because Priestess ability, it's attached to Priestess until the start of the attack phase. And that's when it triggers.
I'm trying to think if there's... Is there anything else that the Blinky character is really...
Things that, for example, like the Overlord level 1 combo that gains power and level until the end of your opponent's turn, or how Aaron, or the Psychon level 1.
Yeah.
Where you blink away.
Or Toka level 1. You can blink it to become a 6K instead of a 6K.
You can also use it to blink away the power boost from the 1-0 back row Toka. Because I did that to Terry, and he was not happy. Yeah, I blinked away both the 500 and the 1500 from one of those. And so it's now just a vanilla 6K. And then I ran it over.
Yeah. It becomes a 6.5K to a 6K.
Well, it went from an 8K to a 6K.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You can also get rid of anything with a marker. Well, you get rid of the marker under it. So if your opponent, for example, plays Vivid Strike, and they're at level, they played their early play and have got a marker or 200, you're just like, and that's gone.
Hina Logic and Vivid Strike were already unplayable, but they're even more unplayable by the existence of this.
Frankly, I wish they'd unban the Hina Logic support card, the alarm card, because I thought that was an interesting gameplay thing. I think they banned it more for time than they did because of the deck being too good.
Merge, search then merge, search.
Yeah. But it's like Sensei's Divining Top. It's banned because it takes way too much time.
Yep. Sweet. Yeah, so that's all there is to say about this card. It's also good yellow fixing for those that may be applicable to. Moving on, Karumi Split Body. So it's an army card, so you can have any number of copies as you wish in your deck, as long as it doesn't exceed 50. And then at the start of your climax phase, it gains plus X power until the end of the opponent's turn, and X is 1,000 times and over this card in your clock. So it gets big.
You can use it with the shenanigans from the put cards into your clock, level 0, but it's an army card. So let's move on.
Origami Mysterious Classmate. So it's a clock bomb, and when your opponent plays a climax, you can send this card to stock. It's pretty decent bomb profile. Many sets have seen it, kind of like Idolmaster Cinderella Girls, or maybe not even like many sets have seen this exact combination of effects. But
I don't know.
It's decent. It's just like you don't want to splash green for much in this set.
I can't think of anything you really play in green outside of the Climax Swapper, which is at level 0. So
it's not like this deck's very stock intensive anyway. Like your 3/2 Kurumi finisher doesn't cost any stock.
Yeah, I mean your 3/2 Toka finisher costs stock, but you can generate the stock for it in a single attack phase because they only pay 3.
Yeah, and you can only resolve one of them because it had the effect.
Send the Climax to waiting room as well. So.
Yep. So I'm okay. Like this card's a good card. But I'm awarding it the good card, but because it's in Data Live, I'm not playing any deck.
Yeah.
Here's the Drop Searcher. So it's Drop Search, and then you can award a level 2 or higher character plus 1,500 power on play.
Meh.
This is fine. Yeah, but like it would be fine.
I mean, you've got another card that's a drop searcher, except occasionally it's a drop salvage. And you have a certain number of cards in clock, and then you have the just straight up drop salvage. And I'd rather, and you can search so easily in the deck. I'd rather play those than the drop searcher.
Yeah, and this is wrong color as well. It doesn't really help you fix, which I think is important.
And your brainstorm's also search, so generally you want to.
Yeah. Green is definitely the loser of this set.
Yeah, generally you want your brainstorm and your other utility cards to plus differently. So one's a salvage, one's a search. And since you're stuck with a search brainstorm, you probably want the salvaging effect for a drop searcher.
Drop salvage. Yeah. Sweet. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't play this in any list either. It's a decent card though, for what it's worth. Origami Happy Incoming Call. So it pay 1 climax swaps, and then you may reveal your hand to your opponent. And if there's a climax in there, you can minus 500 to your opponent's front row.
More relevant than you'd think.
That's such a marginal...
It's actually more relevant you think.
Would I ever want to show my opponent my hand, though?
So here's the thing with Modern Weiss. In Modern Weiss, decks are so streamlined that outside of the fact that you might reveal that you have a backup, your opponents can, if they're good at, if they know what's the deck, can tell what you have in hand.
They pay attention.
So showing them your hand, they probably, if they're good, they probably know what's in your hand or know like 6 or 7 of the cards in your hand already.
Or if here's another anecdote, right? If they're bad, or I guess not especially an anecdote, but another line of thinking here is that if they're bad, they're not going to pay attention to your hand anyway if they weren't trying to pay attention to it before. Yeah. You know?
And you can also use it, it's great if you have a backup and you can use it as bluffing for that. But like all advantage combos nowadays reveal what they're taking. So your opponent will know what cards you're adding to hands. You're not hiding that.
I assume that you play this card because you're out here trying to innovate with a 3 climax combo data.
Yeah. Well, I think I've started with the quality of these climax swappers they've been printing. I've been feeling 3 climax for for several sets now. Like I think there's a 3 climax free 0 deck too.
This one's definitely worse than the Versailles one.
I think the Versailles one might be the best climax swapper I've ever seen.
Best. I think it is. Yeah.
Now, moving on.
That's a really good climax swapper. Kotori Itsuka. And then, so this card on attack gives a character 1k for the turn. And then you on death Akatsuki for level 1 or higher. So this profile is really funny because it's typically a profile that makes people scoff and be like, yeah, save that profile for your binders or your budget decks. But there's a fun little 1-0 event that we'll get to later that basically makes this card a profile that people don't really like typically into one that allows you to grab an event that is just good on all fronts, no matter which mode that you choose. It's a modal event. That has
I feel like a lot of sets that have On Death Akatsuki's, you're probably playing the On Death Akatsuki. Unless there's just such better cards that you can't fit it. I feel like this is a very decent card to be running. Because it's still a discard outlist.
I think sets play On Death Akatsuki's because like their card pool doesn't really give them much else.
I mean, you have options here, but I still like this and the power pump's nice too. Especially if you use it with the clean cut.
I wonder if Konosuba still plays. On Death Akatsuki.
No, because they got real Akatsuki. Yeah,
did they?
It's the Mega Man. It discards either the EP Healer or the new Mega Man Finisher. So it's a restriction on what you can discard, but it's an on-play Akatsuki. They also got a better on-death Akatsuki in the movie set. So they play that, and then they can't be DQ'd.
So like On Death Akatsuki is like played like... I'm not even sure if it's played much anymore. Like Excel World, because like it has no...
SAO Anniversary?
Yeah, but it has like a secondary effect.
It's a beater on the turn it's played. This gives things power on attack, including itself.
Yeah.
And 2/5 is a reasonable size at Modern Weiss.
Funnily enough. So yeah, this card's pretty good. Sometimes it's hard to find the slots for it. I think I'm currently at like 2 copies on it.
Honestly, I feel like this is a kind of card that you either run as a 4 of or you don't run. because it's an effect you want to get, or because if you're running it as a small number, you're just not going to see it constantly, or you can't rely on seeing it reliably. That's the word I wanted there. But
yeah, perhaps I need to change my ratios. I'm still on 4 brainstorm, so maybe I'll up this and take out a brainstorm or 2.
Okay. So moving on, we've got Katori swimsuit look. It's an on-play, pay 1, discard a card, salvage a character, and then give another character 1,000 power for the turn. And then also on-play, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, and you rearrange them.
So, helps confirm standby.
Yeah. It also allows you to do funny things where you can, keep, if you have the 2/2 Toka, you can keep on just pushing climaxes lower and lower in your deck so you don't trigger them, and just leave a climax at the top. Your last attack could be a non-token and be like, oh, there's a climax on top.
That's the good old Bang Dream 3/2 Mocha combo, where if there's a climax on top, you just keep on pushing it to the bottom as you trigger.
Yeah.
That was a pretty fun play pattern. I wonder, if you can... Well, I suppose if you have, 1/0... it's only on opponent's turn, though. Yeah, you, really do need a field full of 2/2 Tokas, so it's probably not likely that...
I mean, you really need 2, because your last attack can trigger whatever isn't the climax.
Okay, yeah. Because the 2/2 Tokas read, you look at top 2...
on reverse, rearrange.
Rearrange them.
Yeah.
So you push so assuming there's a climax on top, you push it to the bottom, attack with the Toka, reverse rearrange, attack, reverse rearrange. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possible play pattern. I assume that would probably not come up too often.
I didn't use this to enable it, but I've set up walls of Toka and would use that to push climaxes through a turn.
Mm-hmm. Another idea with this card is that you can, if you're playing a standby list, you can look at top 2, confirm that there's no standby on top, play 1/0 event, look at the top 2, choose a card, and then your next 3 triggers could be standbys. You open yourself up for possibility of standbys. And assuming the top 2 cards have a card in there that you would want to grab anyway. I don't see that being bad.
The salvage is pretty useful in this set because, like I said, you already have good ways to search, so salvaging is kind of where you want to be.
Yeah.
Now, moving on. We've got...
Pretty decent card.
So, Kurumi, power to rewind time. She has Twin Drive if you have 4 more cards in the clock. She's a free runner if you have 3 or fewer. I was initially kind of high on this card. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not feeling it, really, in this one. I feel like there's just better things to do.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think I started with it being as a 4 of in my 8 standby list, but I need to get around to just cutting them because they aren't really.
I don't like it how it's weird because there's so many modal cards in this set where it's it gives the player the liberty to kind of do whatever they want with it, whereas this is kind of the opposite effect where it's just you don't really get to choose.
I mean,
if it's starting at level 0, starting at level 1 onwards, you never want the free runner effect.
Yeah, but you're probably going to see it a lot at 1/1, 1/2 is where it'd still be on the field because it was a free runner, and then it's oh well, I'm at 1/1, and I really just want it to have Twin Drive, but it doesn't.
I don't want to play I don't want to waste slots on my Kurumi support that would help me.
Yeah, there's a couple of cards that would make that work get significantly better if you run that support, but you are better off not running them. But moving on.
Toka Springtime Moment. So this is a clean cut. Clean cuts have their cult following.
Pretty good.
And and then when it's reversed, you have to put it on a bottom deck. So, I mean, for those uninitiated, which I assume is not many of you, clean cut is when you reverse an opponent's character in battle with this card. You can choose another character to then rest it and then move it into the back row.
Yeah.
So it gets something out of the way to save it for the
Yeah.
next turn.
It's very useful, especially when you're like going for a tri-field. You can like put a brainstorm in one lane to get that extra stock, and then just put it in the back row. It's very good at moving things that you want the extra stock for, but you don't want to lose on your upcoming turns.
Mm-hmm. I like this card better than the runner that we were given, the runner in blue.
So,
but I can't justify playing 4 of this and 4 of the runner, or like if I play this, I don't want to play the runner.
Yeah, I don't really like that blue runner. I've been messed. I think that blue runner isn't particularly good. I think the actual thing you run is the blue 3K that runs in front of things. I think that card's much better than I initially thought. And
would you still play Clean Cut over that card?
I'm not sure I would.
Probably better.
I like Clean Cuts, but I'm not enamored with them. There has to be a clear purpose. Like if this deck had a Rize where
there has to be a clean purpose.
But
I know, but like, what if it was a clean purpose?
Yeah, well, it's Data Live. There's nothing clean about it. But if you had like a Rize or other on reverse effects that you could get off and then pull out of the way, I'd probably like it better. But especially since it's at least not a 2/5 vanilla clean cut, because they've been giving us a lot of those recently.
This is almost Idolmaster 1,000,000 live tier.
No, you want to...
I still think that 3K can't side. Oh, Yuna the hot
Yeah, I was about to say, well, the best clean cut I've ever seen is actually Darling in the Franks. 3K doesn't stand if you don't have another character. It was printed at Uncommon.
Yo, Yuna's clean cut is 5 or more cards of him plus 1/5, and then it goes up to 3/5.
I mean, SAO's clean cut is on play 1,500.
Yeah, but Yuna's clean cut is 3/5 cross turn.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Pretty good. Moving on. Kurumi Swain Heart. It drop searches 3 less, and then you pay 1 different salvage for if you have 4 more. Again, you don't know what point in the games you're gonna have each effect, so I'd rather just play the drop salvage, and then let my brainstorm do the work for the searches. Or my combo.
I could see playing this over any other drop searcher though, because at least there's only one other option in this set, and at least this has 2,500 power instead of I think it was the other one was 2K, which the 500 power is important, and you're probably going to see a lot of this as being a drop search. Because I don't think you're wanting to use this late in level 0. And at early level 1, if you're not running standby, you're probably searching your level 1 combo. Which isn't bad.
Seems pretty decent, aside from the fact that there's a better card.
Yeah.
Again, data life problems.
Okay.
Rainy Girl Yoshino. So I'm playing mill 1 if it's level 1 or higher. She gains plus 2K for the turn. And then it's a really weird runner profile where it's a sort of opponent's attack phase. If the characters are across from this, it may run. So it's not like a free runner in the sense that you can move it up from back row if you want. It's not a free runner in the sense that if there's nothing across from it, you can't run in front of something if somehow your opponent fields something that's weaker than 2K. So it's like... It's so strange. I get that's flavor. It's like, I don't know, like Yoshino's a scared young girl or something, but like they ruined the card. They ruined the profile.
I don't know. So this can be very annoying to deal with if your opponent wants to reverse it. But if they don't want to reverse it, then it's not particularly good.
Well, it's annoying to deal with in the same way that all runners are annoying to deal with, right? But it's worse. It's a worse regular runner.
It very heavily makes it very hard to tri-field unless you can tri-field 3 things that trade or kill it.
Mm-hmm.
But
again, I'm not the biggest fan. I prefer playing.
Yeah, I agree.
Assuming color is not a factor, which unfortunately sometimes color is a
moving
factor.
on.
What's like the blue stuff that you could play in level 1? for a level 1
Yeah.
Toka combo.
Shido, Enjoying Amusement Park. It's on play mill 2. Yeah, you hit a climax, give a character 1500. And on reverse, you can clock a card from hand, search a character. I run it right now.
I wouldn't play
Free
this.
mill's nice. It's one of the better. It's one of the better ways to guarantee getting the cards you want, because you don't have a great amount of. Your level 0 game is not great at finding what you want at level 1. So
Yeah. There's no Ricky in the set.
This is the closest to a Riki, and it happens in the battle phase.
Yeah. I could see someone playing this. It seems like it's alright in standby, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I play it in the blue-yellow deck I'm running just because I really want to guarantee at least 2 of the level 1 Toka combo. And sometimes you just need this. And it's also not costed outside of a card. You don't have to pay stock for it. So.
Yeah. I mean, technically it's like a 1-for-1 like discard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like discard a card.
Yeah.
Sure. Void Sword Toka. So it's a pay 1, rest 2, search brainstorm. And when you play a climax, you return to hand, give a character plus 1k through the end of opponent's turn. So standby players like love this card. I don't know why, cause they see like play a climax. It's like, whoa, playing standby climax synergy. But I mean, I don't think like a lot of players realize how like out of date tap 2 brainstorms are. They just don't feel that great.
I mean, the fact that you are probably playing the 1-0 Toka in back row means that you can kind of justify this, but you don't. What you want to have more things. You want to have a full back row so that your level 2s are playable, so that your level 2s are larger. And
the card would be a lot better if it allowed you to like replace something.
Yeah, well,
or if it was like
a lot of times they have this effect because you need to move them out of the way. Like for Overlord, you play the card that returns to hand, because you have to have 4 more other characters to EP the 2-1 that combos with your standby. So you have to play that card. Mm-hmm. Or you play it in like Railgun, where you're moving stuff out of the way so your level 1 combo can put it into the field.
So this is just like random like value.
Yeah, I'm struggling to call this value. Because you're replacing it on a 1-for-1. And then you don't have, it doesn't do anything on play. You have to brainstorm with it.
It's only value if the 1k power is relevant.
Probably not.
The 1k power being relevant, yeah, that might not be the case.
Yeah.
That's worth considering.
But moving on.
Origami Springtime Moment. So it's a chaser, and then you may not salvage during attack phase. So don't play gates, kids.
I like this card a lot. I think this is just better than the blue runner. I think it's just significantly better.
It's 3k. Yeah, because 1k power more.
I mean, it kills just about everything. It makes your opponents, if they want to kill it, they either have to field multiple things that can kill it, or they can only field 1 character.
And this is not a downside. My first line of text is not a downside.
Because you don't run... There's only 2 gates in the set. One's on the TD combo, and the other's on a not terrible finisher, but there's several better finishers to play.
So like I said, this is not a downside. There's not any level 1 combo that salvages either.
No, there isn't. Yeah, you're right. Huh. Yeah, you just don't... Yeah, so, it's just a 3k chaser. Right. It's almost the Goblin Slayer, but not quite, because that card is really stupid.
3-5.
No, it's a 3k level 1.
Oh, I can't side attack. 3k level 1.
As long as you have 5 or more cards in hand. At uncommon.
Oh, that's a hard condition. So here's a familiar card that's been printing a lot for no real reason. This is the Goblin Slayer Cowgirl profile, where you look at top, add if it's a spirit trait character or date trait character, you can add to hand, discard, and then you discard
character. You discard a character to draw.
Thank you. Discard a character to draw one. So it's like, what do like the kids call it these days? Like super filter.
It's deck fixing.
Omega filter. Baller check and wreck filter.
It's good.
It's like a standby card.
Yeah.
It's card for standby.
Yeah. I've actually been seeing with these type of cards is if you don't have like good digging level 3s, like on play look it up to 3, take one, or like that, or you're like level 3 is just a healer. You can run this, and it basically gives you almost as much dig for your climax as those.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. It's like basically a mill 2. Not quite a mill 2, because a lot of the cards come from your hand, but it's valuable to the point where you have the selection of your hand as well. So I'd argue that's better.
Yeah, it's almost like that profile that they used to print, that they were printing for a while. It's just the on play, look at the top 2 cards of a deck, send one to waiting room, add the other to hand, then discard a card.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because it's not a 1-0 1500 power card. It's a 0-0, so 1500 power. And you can grab 2 things you want and get rid of 2 things you don't. Because if both the cards on the top, both of the top 2 cards are good, you can take both of them. Although you don't have knowledge of what the second card is until you draw.
Yeah. So yeah, cards are really good. I'm not sure if you play it in the other builds besides standby, though. I think you could make a really good argument for it.
Yeah.
Like, cards is a good profile.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on. Level 1 utility stuff. So this is a Kurumi, where opponent's characters gain Encore 2, and when it becomes reversed, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 2, you may rest this. It's like cool filler level 1 stuff, but again, I don't think you play it in the set.
There's a lot of good cards, and you don't need filler level. Yeah. It's been a long time since decks have really wanted filler level 1s. Like, filler level 1s are generally bombs of some sort, and that's the only kind of filler level 1 you play. Other than that, it's backups in your level 1 combo. Which...
I wouldn't play this. Moving on. Alright, here's the card. The reason to play Data Live.
I thought the reason to play Data Live was the level 3 game, but this is a close second.
This to me might be the reason to play Data Live. So you rest a standing character. You choose one of the 3 effects. So it could either be an Akatsuki event, which is typically pretty good. It could be anti-standby, where you kill a character that's opponent's level
higher.
one or higher, and then they choose a level X or lower character and swap them, where X is the level of that character.
So specifically, they have to have a valid target in their waiting room, or you cannot use this effect. So, like, if your opponent has nothing in waiting room, you can't use that effect. Just to make it very clear.
Yeah, but they play fat 2/2s. You get rid of that for the price of 1 card and resting a character. And then if you have 6 or fewer cards in hand, you can salvage level 3, which is, again, pretty...
It's like, oh, I just need my end game.
Yeah, it makes it like the most seamless thing ever. It just makes playing this set, like, it feels like you're not...
And especially with, like, the My Little Shido Itsuga card that's pay 1, sack it, dig 4. It's like, well, I play the Shido, blink your thing. I play this event, rest the Shido. I dig 4. I kill the Shido and dig another 4.
The only thing that would have made this card better if it had a Bonder.
I don't think it needs a Bonder. I think it's already really stupid.
Yeah, well, the only thing that could have made it better is a Bonder.
The only thing that could have made it better is if instead of blinking My Little Shido, the Shido Itsuka bonded to this. So it's like, bond to this and it's a pay 1, sack it, so dig 4.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
That would be really stupid. But yeah, we can. This card is super stupid. Bushiroad does not understand how to do modal. They completely screwed it. Yep. Moving on.
Yep. It's a ditch to anti-change to clock backup.
Yeah, pretty decent.
It's fine.
I mean,
I would my anti. You play anti-change in the card that we just played.
Yeah.
All right, that's your anti-change.
Well, you play that, or there's a 2/1 that if on play, if you have 4 more other characters, you stock from waiting room. So it's a costless anti-change.
I wouldn't play this. Unless specifically the card said send the card to clock. And
they heal the top of their clock, send the card to clock.
Yeah, I know. But like the only way that I would consider playing this if it was just a straight +1 to damage.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's enough. I like this because of things like Konosuba and Slime, where they have their hand-on core level 3s, but you can also just bomb them with every other bomb effect. I almost never play anti-change backups because I feel like the cost on them is just too high for the effect. I don't want to -3 cards and go down to 4 cards in hand to get rid of my opponent's character.
Yeah. This card's kind of a wash. Moving on. 2K backup if you have a date or spirit trait character on the field. Which is like everything. So it's a fake condition like always for all 2K backups. And it's a pretty good card. If you like backups, you play this. Because if you're playing 1-0 Toka combo, you can get up to 8.5k. Assuming you comboed on the previous turn.
And if you're playing standby, I think you run the other backup, which we'll get to later. But
yeah. They somehow are printing like multiple good backups now, which is like insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good card.
Okay.
So this 1-0 Karumi, a little disappointing. When it's placed on stage, attacks or dies, scry 1 to Rating Room. This card's stacked. And yeah, like this card's pretty decent.
Yeah. I just can't fit it. I like it, but I can't fit it.
I can't fit it either. It seems like a pretty good standby card, right?
It's very efficient for just dating through the deck because it's going to mill 2 the turn it's played. Or you're going to see things you like and leave them on top.
Yep. Alright, moving on. 1/1 2K backup, then if all your characters on traits top stock. So this card has a soul trigger. That's the main difference, and then you blind stock, or you can help pay out climaxes.
Yeah, you can help pay out climaxes. You can stop climaxes, obviously. But I like this a lot more with standby lists because I feel like they have a critical lack of soul. So giving them something like this, where it's just more soul triggers, is always something I'm a fan of.
Alternatively, though, I feel like it depends on what point of the game you are on standby list for that to be good. Because assuming that like you're just too big and your opponent has to crash into their stuff, I wouldn't want extra soul triggers.
I mean, if your opponent's set up, if you're at a point where your opponent's just having to crash their stuff, they're not generating real compression, so you can just run through. So the swing for 3 isn't bad, and triggering isn't that bad either.
Yeah, you might just be dominated at that point where
it's like, well, until my opponent can actually contend with these, I don't really care.
Okay.
It also makes siding at level 3 more palatable.
Yeah, this card's a pretty good second backup. I wouldn't fault anyone for playing it either. It's weird that they're both red, though. You think that one of them would be...
You'd think, but I think they're trying to push some certain things, so...
1/1 Toka date meeting. Can't be reversed by cost 0. Some of your other character attacks you +1k for the turn. This is a strange card because I think it's just going to be worse than the 1/1 Karumi if you want to play that type of card in the standby list.
I feel like this is the kind of card that gets played in non-standby decks that have red in them, where it's like, well, this is a way to just contend with certain things in your meta. Where it's like, well, I just don't want to give up reverses. And this is how you
playing against Aaron. You play this in a meta with Attack on Titan.
Yeah, because this Attack on Titan can scale over a 1/1 pretty easily.
Yeah, but if it's cost 0,
or you play this against something that has like a plussing combo, on reverse combos on a bomb. So I think like there's one of the idol sets has a bomb that's a plussing on reverse combo.
Yeah, Love Life Sunshine, Rewrite Gaia as if that deck was relevant is also on a bomb.
Yeah.
Puyo Puyo as if that deck was relevant is also on a bomb. So like a bunch of like miscellaneous crap. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it.
No.
I wouldn't play it unless I knew that my meta was like full of that type of stuff. Here's the 1/1 Kurumi I just mentioned. It's 7.5k if you have 2 or more other characters, and it has Hand on Core. For people that want to standby stuff out at level 0, this is it. It's like another one of those cards that like you either play 4 copies of or you don't play any at all.
Yeah.
A lot of players like played standby hope to draw it in their opening hand and then discard it and then draw it into standby. And play the standby.
Do not like 1/1s at all. It's as like if I'm playing standby, my thought process is, well, if I trigger it before I get to level 1, then I guess I just live without having a great target. But I just do not like 1/1s. I don't think there's a good reason to play them. I'd rather just wait. I'd rather hold a standby trigger for a turn or 2 and then use it to play a 2/2 from my hands. So the only thing is you're trying to trigger stuff.
The 1/1. I think the good 1/1s to play are the ones with the Hand on Core, because if they reverse it, you can Hand on Core it back, and then you just kind of play like some board gymnastics, or not even like gymnastics. You just switch the slots that the Kurumi was in, and the card that reversed the Kurumi, and the 2/2 that you had played with the standby later on in the game, and then you just try to kill it. Because like 1/1's 7.5k, and then before supports, and if you have backups of the deck, it's definitely very defensible. Both as a choice in deck building. And like,
I remember the time where it's time for you to play these kinds of cards before standby existed, because it's like, well, it's just impossible for your opponent to kill before either they play an early play or they get to level 3.
Those are the days. Monogatari. Shoutouts to
I'm fine not living in those days, although I regret standby sometimes. Moving on. Even this course is special. When you use this event, dump your stock. Give a Toka character plus X and bodyguard till end of turn. X is the number of stocks dumped by 1,000. Card's bad. Let's move on. Toka, uniform look.
Alright,
start opponent's draw phase.
Card's good. Let's
plus
move
200
on.
for the turn. During opponent's turn, when you reverse character, look at the top card of your deck. You may put it on top or bottom of deck.
Remember when this was a level 3 effect?
Yes.
How do you feel about
I think this card's really stupid. Like, the only time it's bad is when you have no climaxes in deck. Or when your cards are tiny and can't reverse your opponent's characters. But that shouldn't be an issue most of the time. Yeah. This card's stupid. Moving on.
This card's stupid. But in everything. I'm convinced that you'd like actually just play this in everything.
I don't know about that, but...
My little sheet of it.
Yeah. I think you definitely play it in standby.
Oh, you don't play it if you play Kosher level.
I don't play it with the book level 1 combo. Honestly, I don't feel like I have the space, and you force yourself to refresh so efficiently with that deck. Like, once you resolve your level 1 combo, you're going to refresh or be at, like, 1 card in deck. And I don't feel like you need this effect.
It can't hurt, though.
I don't like having... Well, it also forces you to committing to full fielding, which is something I try to avoid for non-standby decks. It's like, I like to always have, like, 3 front row and 1 back row, which is more a personal preference than anything. But, yeah.
Yes. So this Yoshino right here is an anti-change bomb to bomb deck, I believe. And then at the start of the opponent's attack phase, you pay 1 sand and swap this with another character. It's kind of strange because like it's both a proactive card and a reactive card, and like, but I think that probably playing this card reactively might just be a mistake.
I think that I've seen this in a couple standby lists. You can use that. You can put it in the back row and then move it up to counter what your opponent's doing. But I think they're just better anti-change options.
To me, if I see this card on the stage, I just don't play my early play, right? So it's...
No, moving on. We got Yikes. You discard your hand and draw that many +1. I really want this to work. I really, really want this.
Super interesting card.
If I could find the slots for it, I think it's playable if you had the slots.
I mean, it's just weird because in Weiss is a game. Modern Weiss is a game all about hand sculpting. So it's like, why would you ever want to like get something random out of something that's been sculpted?
It's after you've like I can see this at like early level 1. It's like, well, I played my level 1 combo game. I don't have the climax. I have 3 or 4 cards in hand. Let's just dig 4 deep and see if I can get what I want. It's more for it's after you've played the good stuff. It's how you get rid of the chaff. Gotcha. But I just haven't found space for it. I like the card though.
I think that's a fine conclusion. No space. Here's a 1/0 bomb on a Karumi, and then you can give someone else 1k,
including itself. It's a promo
bomb
because of course it is. It's the only level 1 bomb in the set, and it's a promo. It annoys me greatly. I really like bombs.
I think you can get.
Well, you don't really need it, but I've played too many games against things like Milky Homes, where just having bombs makes me so happy. It makes my opponent so sad.
Yep. All right. Next card. So we're here with the advantage combos. So this is the younger sister Kotori. It's +1/5 on your turn, and then on attack with the choice trigger, reveal top twice if it's a character event added to hand.
I don't like this very much.
I used to like this card, but I'm pretty sure, fairly confident saying that 1/0 Toka is definitely the climax combo that you want to be playing if you're playing a level 1 climax combo.
I feel like this is just a trap.
Sure. Like, the argument for it is that you could spare yourself clocking on the turn that would have been your level 1 combo, and you just, like, dump your hand to assemble your 5 cards.
Yeah.
Right there.
But you can't repeat it.
I guess that's fine. You can't repeat it, and, like, this card can't be saved. And then this card also means that you can't play 1/0 Toka in back row. It also means that you aren't...
it just it says that, well, if my opponent wants reverses, they're getting them. And 6/5 on attack's not really respectable either.
The fact that this card is dying means that, like, you're basically replacing the deficit that would have been if your cards are big.
I mean, it is a +2, but I feel like so you have to play out your hand and hope that you can dump enough of your hand that with this tri-fielded you'll go back to like 6 or 7.
Yeah, there's also, I think, no doubt you go back to 7.
Well, you'll go up to 7. The question is, well, what if you go up to like 10 and then you just have to ditch 3? That's the problem. It's like, well, you can only plus up to a certain amount on Weiss, and then it's no longer valuable. And that's kind of why I don't like this.
So there is that discussion about like hyper compressing before your refresh, where it's like you refresh with like 10 cards in hand. Like, that's kind of silly.
You can, but I feel like this card is not great at actually getting you to your refresh. You have to. I feel like you have to have like the 1/0 event in a Shido, maybe a Brainstorm even, prior to playing out this effect. And it's also just really good at triggering your climaxes, because it will dig through anything that isn't a climax. And then if it hits a climax on one of the real triggers, then you don't plus, and then you trigger your climax.
Mm-hmm.
But
very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm not too hype on this. I'm not particularly high on this card anymore.
Yeah. Me neither. And we'll get to the 1/0 Toka card later. But right now, We have another kind of mediocre level 1 yellow climax combo. This one, I'd argue, is worse. But it gets 5 for every other character on your turn, and then on attack, you look at top 2, someone to stock, place the other one on top of deck or waiting room. So it doesn't plus you. Card doesn't have the place.
It kept 500 power continuously, so it was always like a 1-0, 6K, 6-5. I feel like thered be a place for it because you could trust it to sustain field. But you're not super thirsty for stock. That's the other. Like, none of your climax combos or none of your finishers need to burn like 4 or 5 stock additional beyond playing them. So at that point, it doesn't help you that much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, next combo. Origami 1-0. So if all your characters are either date or spirit, you get plus 2k. And then on reverse of opponent's character, you stock at level 0 from waiting room, and then top check. If the card's level 1 or higher, add it to hand. And then if the climax is a stock soul that checks level what you stock, it can stock anything level 1 or lower. So yeah, this is a new climax profile. It's like stock. It
is a stock soul, but instead of checking color, it checks level. So it's interesting. I'm not a huge fan of this type of effect being on a non-power giving climax, since it is an on-reverse combo. But it is a continuous 6k, which isn't terrible.
Yeah, and it's green. You don't really want to play green. I wouldn't play this card.
Moving on.
If you want to play its profile, like play Konosuba or something.
It's a time machine. We can move on.
Okay. Here's this cool standby thing. So it's a standby combo, and then the level 1 is draw a ditch on play, and then you on play the climax, you sack this
from hand.
Play the level 2. I see that's from hand, right? Yeah. And then the level 2 is that if you have 2 or more other characters, you gain plus 1k, and then beginning of attack phase, the climax is in play, you may stand another character. So the idea is that you sack the card, play the 2/1, play a standby target, and then stand the other standby target. You have to like sequence it in a very.
But it also specifies another character because otherwise you could stand in the 2/1 and then stand the 2/1. Which I kind of wish you could do that because that would. I don't like having to lose hand size. I've seen a lot of lists that just are just running the standby trigger and not running the level 1 combo.
Yeah, because so many slots. Right?
I mean, I'd probably run like 3 and 3, and you could probably get away with 2 of the 2/1 or less. I like having the on-play draw ditch because I feel like you want ways to throw cards into your waiting room in the standby list. I might just run like 3 of the 1-0 and none of the 2/1 because I just want the mill, but the fixing that it gives you.
Yep. I'm probably in the camp empty standby.
Yeah, I lean towards it a little, but I kind of value the 1-0 profile there. You don't need it, and I'll probably eventually not run it, but for now.
And here we go. This is the card that we've been waiting for. So it's a 6k. Hello, Goblin Slayer. And then it's climax combo with the book trigger. That's the worst part of the card. It's book trigger. Book.
There's a lot worse triggers.
Like I don't mind the trigger, the climax profile if it's attached to a pretty good combo. Unless it's like a 2k1 soul, which they don't really.
Yeah, how about a 3k1 draw?
3k, yeah, with a 3 soul draw.
No, it's 3,000 power, 1 soul draw a card.
Yeah, in old Weiss there was give a character 3 soul and then draw.
Okay, but moving on, the climax combo for this is beginning of your encore step. If you have another character and the slot across from this is either empty or has been reversed, look at up to 5, take a character. This gets 500 till opponent's end of turn. So through your opponent's turn, it's 6/5, and all it needs to, even if it was reversed as well, as long as the thing across from it was reversed or is not there, you're good. If you run into a cost 0 bomb, it's completely useless. So don't do that. Oh, and if you put it in back row, it pluses. If it's sitting in the back row, one of the black back row slots, you'll just get a dig 5 without ever using it to attack. Because of how Bushiroad ruled that, which is really silly.
So you can, the super dank play is to play a full field, leave one in waiting room, trigger standby with a climax.
Well, why play it? Why would you play a full
field? The last copy and back.
You don't need to put.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean.
Tri-field.
Like full field as in front row. Yeah. So yeah, you tri-field the card, and then the last copy is in the waiting room, and then you hope that you trigger a standby. And then
I just don't like running the standby. I don't like running the standby finisher unless I'm running I'm running a standby. I don't like book standby. I don't like choice standby. I just would rather run the other finishers with this card, with the book trigger. So I run like book pants.
I still think Kurumi is really solid. I think it just is weird in the sense that you don't really have to like you have to dedicate some slots for like standby targets, and I think that you do that in like the place of 2/2, like 2/2 Toka.
But
and you just like you hope that that's in your waiting room when you trigger.
Yep. I don't know. I like that this sticks 5. This is pretty much you're probably going to be at like 18 to 20 cards in deck at start of attack phase when you do this, and you'll put yourself to right up to refresh.
Which I think
and this also, because all of the effects resolve at beginning of Encore step, you have a ton of control on moving through your deck. Like I think very highly of this effect.
Yes. A really good card. This is the premier level 1 combo. So level 2 utility stuff, there's not much in this section. So this is level assist. It's very similar to level 5. You didn't play it before. You don't play it now. This card's interesting though. So it's an interchange stock bomb, and then on play if you have 4 more other characters you stock from waiting room. And a standby list, I don't think you want to because your standby cards are big enough to kill early.
If you're not playing standby though, I think this is probably your best anti-change. Because it's just, here's my costless anti-change. It also can help you pay out climaxes without losing the stock you want to keep.
Yeah, it depends if you play your own early plays of your set.
I don't think I'm not a huge fan of most of the early plays of this set.
Yeah, I like the Toka 3/2, but that costs 2 stocks, so maybe this is just better because 0 stock and deals with the play just.
Well, I think my non-standby list is also
basically you pay 2 stock to heal.
Blue-yellow, so the only real early play I have access to is the Dig X.
Mm-hmm. This is a genuine consideration. Origami Perfection of the City. It's green. It's an anti-chain clock bomb. It's worse than the one that we just looked at. Moving on. Yoshino Swimsuit Collection. It's an alarm, and then at the start of main phase you pay 1, ditch 1, free fresh. Timing's really weird on this card, and then it's not like you really have
I'll also note that there is a 2/1 free fresh backup that I didn't include in this, but it's a yellow 2/1 backup that's pay 2 free fresh.
I don't think Data Live is a set that needs free fresh. There's so much mill that it doesn't need free fresh. Okay, here's one of the standby targets. Is pretty decent depending on what your colors are. I think Toka's better, but it's 1K for each other character than Hand Encore.
Standard.
So yeah, we'll get to Toka that's a bit better. But yeah, it's a standard 2/2 soul wall. Origami Intensifying Battlefield. It's an anti-level 3 plus 6K, and then you twin drive on attack by paying 1, triggering 2. I think if you are playing an anti-level 3 card, you're playing either Kotari that we looked at or your own early play yourself.
Or just playing standby and you're like, my 2/2 is bigger than your 3/2.
Mm-hmm. And then 2/2 Toka Under the Blue Sky. This is the best one. So you get 1K for each other character, and then when it reverses a character, you look at the top 2, and then you can rearrange them. So it works as a very good defensive plan.
It's also just 500 power bigger than the other main 2/2's target. I go for power over, because 500 power might mean, well, now their level 3 early play can't reverse it, or either ties with it, or is 500 smaller without some kind of pump. Instead of, well, it ties with most level 3 early plays.
There's like some cute like interactions that you can do with the 1-0 token on the back row. It's not like super pertinent or anything, but it's like you can reveal top from the 1-0 toka. You can prime that effect first. You can find or no, it's the other way around. So you can use this card's effect first. Look at the top two. If there's like a standby among them, and like you don't think your opponent would do enough damage to like get to that standby, you can then use the 1-0 token and then send that card to the bottom, and then they accelerate you to level 3, and then like you draw into the standby. That's a really niche play, but I generally think that the cards have pretty good synergy together because
like you can just you can fix your deck really aggressively with these cards.
Mm-hmm. All right, this is the standby target that a lot of lists will play. Although I don't really fault anyone for playing the 2-2 Kurumi either. They're both pretty good cards.
I fault him a little.
Finishing combos. So we're starting off the finishing combo section by a card that doesn't finish the game.
The card that prolongs the game.
But
kind of not really the early play condition you want on this, because that makes it harder to try. You 2 less climaxes in waiting room you can early play, and then with the climax gold bar, it gains +2 soul to opponent cross, and this may side attack with a penalty at the end of the opponent's turn. Then at the start of opponent's attack phase, you may discard a card, stand and swap this in another character, and this gains +2k until the end of the turn. So this is like a really good -soul early play. You just don't have any shells that this fits into, and green is not something that you want to be building towards this set. I like it better if it was like Priestess, where it digs and then it can gain power from its climax combo, or it's the Coterie from Rewrite that gains power. Because I don't like the idea of having to minus cards in hand, especially since it doesn't really do a whole lot else. And side attacking with a level 3 feels pretty bad.
Yeah,
you're trying to dodge anti-change, but dodging anti-change backups isn't really relevant most of the time. Normally, your opponent will minus a lot more than you will.
I think this card's really good. It's pretty good. It's like pretty good as far as -soul.
I'd rather proactively end the game than reactive than try and defend the game.
Yep. That's what this next card does. This is Worst Spirit Kurumi. So she heals on play, and then 10.5k if you have 2 more other characters. Yeah, well, it's like it becomes a 10.5k. And then you can. It's another modal card on attack. If you have to stand by, you can choose one of the following 3 options. You can either stock dump the opponent.
Stock troll.
You can shuffle 3 cards back to the opponent's deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like you dump all their stock and then place that amount of cards from deck back into the stock. Yeah.
Well, when I say stock dump, I think the Konosuba event that just straight up takes away their stock until end of turn.
Yeah, I guess it's just like a difference of like colloquialism, but I always think the stock troll is like that stupid like Ayumi secondary effect.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a climax
I see that as a stock troll.
See if you can pay the top part of your stock out.
Yeah, I think a stock dump sounds more threatening than a stock troll, because the stock troll and the Ayumi.
Well, I also consider that effect and the events that do it very trolling cards. But yeah, but you have the shuffle 3 cards back to opponent's deck from waiting room, or ditch to burn 3. I've found playing this that like 60-70% of the time you're probably just better off shuffling cards back into your opponent's deck. Unless your opponent is recently refreshed, that's probably going to just do the most damage.
Yeah, I think you probably want to burn 3 on the last attack. I haven't done the numbers.
Oh, it's highly dependent on your opponent's deck, but a lot of times you can just reliably say, well, I'm going to shuffle away I'm going to put all your non-climaxes back in deck. And of course, of the games I played with this, 2 of the 3, my opponent was down to like 5 or 6 cards left in deck. So I was clearly doing quite a bit of damage with this.
So I like the burn 3 just because you're stuck at 2 soul unless you play the 1k1 on legs that we'll get to later.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that is maintaining hand, which I think that if you play empty standby, it's a lot easier to keep
afford
hand
to do
than
it
it
once.
is if you
Come
play
on.
the combo, because you have to minus hand.
Come on, you're gonna have at least 2 cards in hand once you start your attack phase. You can do it at least once.
Oh, you can easily do it once, but then you might be sitting on like 1 card the next.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I think this finish.
Oh, it's insane. I agree with
that. Koturi murders expression. So 5 for each other character, and then climax on attack middle top of deck. Burn for level +1. It's like weird Musashi
it's
thing.
better Musashi in that it's always going to be 6 instances of damage, and there's also there's a level 3 that changes into it that is just an on attack. Reveal top if it's a character or an event and burn 1. So it's pretty much always an on attack burn 1 as long as you don't hit a climax. So if you aren't able to field this, so if you don't have the climax, you're probably fielding the other side of this, and it's just a very good level 3. And then,
yeah, this finisher package seems fine.
It's fine. I don't play it, but these next 2 finishers are my favorite, and I actually run both of them because you can do that.
So this Tokai Innocent Girl, it's 500 for each other character. You heal on play. And then when it reverses opponent, you may pay 3, ditch 2, send the Pants Climax to waiting room, put up 3 cards in the opponent's rating on the top of their deck, and then burn 5. Yeah, so you're attacking for 2, for the chance of sticking 2, but you stick 5 if you stick it.
Yeah, like
really good.
This is pretty consistently just a devastating effect.
Yep. I guess the biggest issue is that this card doesn't have like no events or backups built into
True,
it. So
but you also only need it in a single lane.
Yo, this card loses to Railgun.
To Railgun?
To Railgun, yeah. Your opponent just plays Dragon Strike in response.
I think I can live with my opponent Dragon Striking their cards to prevent me from minusing 5 and hoping to burn them.
Yeah, but like
no, it doesn't, because every other card in your deck is just better than every card in their deck.
Wins against Railgun. All right, cool.
And because you only need to run, like, since you can only resolve it once, you can run with it. You run this, and the next one is like a 2-2 climax split, and you only need to run 2 of this finisher because you only ever need 1 of it. But the next one, Origami Tabichi, on play, look it up to 3, take a card. During battles involving this, your opponent cannot use backups. And on attack, if you have 4 more other characters, this gains +1k, and it mills the opponent's bottom 4, burn 1 X times, where X is the number of climaxes hit. Better IC2. Significantly better. Like, if your opponent is reasonably compressed, this card is just devastating, especially if you're resolving it the way you should, which is you play all 3 lanes with this. It can tear apart the opponent. Like, I've been very impressed the few times I've played this. Like, the other one I've been impressed with as well.
Unfortunately, it comes with the. Unfortunately, this card like comes with the downside where it's like you try to icy tail them and then they just like mills nothing, and like their deck is pretty tiny to begin with. So it's like all the damage that you would have stuck that turn is just gonna like help contribute to them refreshing earlier. Like, so like don't get me wrong, like when this card works well, it's going to like absolutely destroy them.
If your opponent's not compressed, you probably shouldn't play this. And it gets significantly better the more lanes you field it in. If you're fielding it in 1 lane, it's bad. If you field it in 2 lanes, it's okay. If you field it in 3 lanes, it's good. Never single field this. If you can only single field this, you're better off playing the other finisher or just not playing a finisher that turn. It's just bad if you play only 1 copy of this.
Yep. Okay, moving on. here are all the other level 3s. So this is like a supplementary healer. It gains 1500 in optional memory cake if you have 2 or more other characters. You heal, and then you on attack, pay 3, ditch 1, and then mill opponent's bottom 5, you burn X. So this is like Icy Tail, but one more. Actual Icy Tail. And so this, like, you play, I just think it's like your 5th copy of the healer.
Pretty much. You don't really need it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Healer, like, it has a decent finishing effect, and it also heals. Sure. Here's the 1k one on legs, but it's also a MOLA card, so let's talk about those. You assist 2k, and then on play you choose one of the following 3 abilities. You can look it up to top 3, take a card, you can salvage a character, or all of your characters gain plus 1000 power and plus 1 soul for the turn. Super cool. You can dig for the climaxes, you can get your last copy of your finisher, you can 1k with legs, and then it also helps you step over some opponents.
Yeah, it also can just give soul to your standby deck.
Still. Yep. And I think like this pairs really well with the 3/2 Kurumi. I think if you play 3/2 Kurumi, you play this card as well.
Yep.
Origami Ready for War. On play, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 0, you put it in stock. So 3/1. It's a 3/1 card potentially, and then on play you ditch 1, search your library for an event. I don't think there's any events that are really worth playing this card for, really worth tutoring for.
Yeah.
The minus soul event is not nearly good enough.
Yeah, no, you just don't play it.
Here's that minus soul event. So it's a 3/3, and you perform a follow action 3 times. You minus 1 soul something 3 times. You send us the memory. I don't know what's up with this card. Are all minus soul events this bad? Maybe.
No.
I was under the impression that might have been better.
Yeah.
Fujimi. Fujimi's the best minus soul event in the game, though.
And then they have the 3/2 just give things a shitload of soul and can't side attack and hope your opponents.
Mm-hmm. Because Diver had 3/2 minus 1 soul to opponent's board.
You'd want to do twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stock, though.
Not for Kisniver.
Yeah, Kisniver costed 1 more card and 2 more stock to do the same thing that Fujimi did. This next card, I'm a fan of this early play. I know some people aren't, but it's a fine early play if you want to play it. It's an early play if you have 4 or more other characters, and then heals on play, and then gains 2k until the opponent's turn. So you can step over some standby stuff with a support or a climax. It can heal, and then it's 2 soul, and it can be played early.
Yeah,
that's fine. Here's the second half of the Fire Spirit Katori, which on attack you reveal top. If it's character event, you burn 1, and then it changes. Do you know at what
start a climax phase?
Is it climax phase change? Yep. So this is a pretty fine endgame package too. There's a lot of good.
This is one of the best filler level 3s because it's an efficient damage option, even if you aren't playing the climax combo. I love this in standby because having just free burn at level 2 it can drive your opponents insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can sense this card being pretty good in standby. Of course, it's not on play. Can you imagine how? I feel like, if this is on play, reveal top burn, I feel like that might be better than the Kurumi finisher.
I think it's better that it's on attack because having it on attack means that you don't need a climax and it's repeatable because you protect.
Well, I'm just saying, with the change package. If this was on play, reveal top, burn, and then at the start of
that would be really stupid.
Yeah, that's...
then you'd see people start running
That
baits.
would be... Best finisher.
Not even close.
Yo, you can't...
I mean, the Kurumi'd still be better.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So this next card, this is a TD card. It's on play you get 4.5k, and then neither player may use backups or events during this card's battle till the end of opponent's turn. And then when it reverses another character, you pay 2, burn 1. This card doesn't heal. It's a worse burner than the Koturi. I think that's...
No.
I don't think this card really makes it anywhere. And then Origami Confrontation with Spirited. On play, ditch 2. Bottom deck and opponents cost 1 or lower back row character. And on play, heal. I feel like it's too... At that point, it's too late into the game to really do stuff.
If it was an early play, it'd be decent.
I guess it's a budget option. It's a budget option if you don't want to pay your 13 or 1280 yen for your Kurumi 3/2s. The Icy Tail ones.
The yellow one?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's like another supplementary heal.
Yeah, that's fair. There's more healers, I just didn't include them.
Plays.
There is a heal to stock, but it's not an early play, and I don't really think it's worth playing.
Yep. Yeah, but that's Data Live.
Yeah.
That's really stupid.
Yeah.
A lot of good cards, a lot of good builds. And I guess it's just a matter of time to figure out which one's going to make the best build.
I personally do think that it's a 3 climax deck. Because I think that having the 2 different pants combos gives you a lot of ability to tailor to what you're playing against. Because if you're playing against high compression decks, like Saikano and whatnot, the Origami is extremely good. And if you're playing against random jank, Burning 5 is pretty reliable. Although, if you're playing against random jank, you probably are already way ahead. So.
What is it, like, you play like 3 book?
No, I play 4 book because you always want to maximize the level 1 combos chances, and then you play 2 and 2 with like 2 climax swapper. And the Origami digs 3, so if you're going for the Origami combo, it's very easy to either get into the climax, to get into a single climax, and then you just play the climax swapper to get what you need.
Yeah, that build seems pretty decent. I guess I'll play test against that soon enough. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments, and we'll try answering it. And then I guess for this specific set review, I'm gonna list all the... I'm gonna like copy and paste all the Encore Dex links that I came up with for this set. Because like I ended up with like...
Okay, yeah, I'll send you what I'm doing right now as well.
Yep. And then there's some deck lists to get you started. Again, yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.